Assalamu alaikum. This is Pasha, the author of the Double Cross. In a chapter named Matthew, the Messiah has said, "A house divided cannot stand." This makes perfectly good sense. So why would he, a prophet, give us this statement as a part of his revelation? It's because in spite of the obvious, in spite of this making perfectly good sense, millions of us across the globe will still be a victim of this simple science instead of uniting. Because though it is a simple phrase, the power behind it is huge. And those that understand its power, those who know its power, have taken it up and used it as a conquering tool against our nation. Now, imagine what America would look like if the millions of blacks that hold onto the Bible read this revelation in Matthew and then acted on it. Because by far, the vast majority of blacks murdering each other in the streets hold up the Bible. The vast majority of those that are junkies, drug dealers, prostitutes, and stick-up boys and girls here in America hold up the Bible. It's the first thing they reach for when things suddenly turn bad. And I know this for a fact because I've been there. I've held it up for years. A house divided cannot stand. A house, an organization, a nation, a family, a tribe, a pack, a pride. Even lions and wolves know that they have to work together as a team in order to succeed. They know that they are only as strong as the weakest among them. And in most cases with lions and wolves, you will see that it is the weakest among them that leads the charge, so that he or she may learn and grow stronger. Now, how is it that this revelation is instinctively known by animals and told to us by Allah's messengers, and we still have not mastered it or even embraced it as a key to our growth and strength of our nation? At almost no stage in our evolution as a people has this one principle not been applied against us. We were divided. We were sold to white enslavers. Once here, we were divided into the house niggas and the field niggas, then into mulattoes, fair skin versus dark skin, and taught to hate each other. Then we were further divided and broken up into the haves and have-nots, then into this side of town versus the other side of town, then into red versus blue. On our own, we have found different ways to create divisions among ourselves. On our own, we murder one another over these differences. Now, add in common hatred, envy, jealousy, and there is nothing for our race to stand on. Do you see the process? It's a recipe for destruction. Now, how is it that a nation of people so gifted as we are can turn around and be so ignorant that they will allow something so basic in meaning to be played on them through a process of evolution? And after such a long period of time, recognize being used as a tool against us. Every black organization established for the upliftment of our nation was internally divided and destroyed. Rats everywhere with one purpose: to divide and destroy and to assist the white man in conquering us. They destroyed the movement and uniting of our people attempted by Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, and deported them. They reduced the reach of Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan by labeling them extremists, radical, and separating them from the mainstream blacks. This system was used on the Black Panthers through the FBI's COINTEL program. These same people, the FBI, murdered Malcolm for the very same reasons, in order to further isolate the Nation of Islam from the mainstream global Muslim communities. Before his death, it was Malcolm versus Martin Luther King. It was CORE versus the NAACP. Then the use of violence versus nonviolence. Recently, it was the standing of the national anthem versus not standing. I lean towards not standing. And I'm totally against black singing the anthem. Why? Because it was not written for or created for us, period. They did not have us in mind when it was written or when they sung it initially. The home of the free? Since when have we been free? Name a day since the 1600s. And if you think today that we are truly free, then you are thinking small, and you are not a part of the solution. You are a part of our problems. Home of the brave? Well, you obviously haven't studied your history. The United States has only won one major war, and that is the war which it had with itself in the Civil War. Every other major war it lost. World War II, when it was united with its own people, other European nations, against one of their own, Hitler. Germans are Europeans too. Vietnam, lost. Iraq, lost. The suicide bomber killed 4,000 U.S. soldiers and maimed hundreds of thousands more, and caused hundreds of thousands to commit suicide once they returned to the United States. Afghanistan, lost and kicked out the country after 29 years of fighting. The only thing that they whites can truly brag about here is the total enslavement of black people in every aspect. And even with that, we helped them. Isn't that crazy? We were the spies on our own people trying to remove our chains. We set our own people up to be arrested and killed. Did you know that Jesse Jackson, Reverend Abernathy, and the rest of the Black Six were called to the White House and asked to murder Martin Luther King? They were told if they did so, they could take over the leadership? No? Then read the book called The Black Question, the FBI secret file on Black America. Did you know that Martin Luther King had a thing for white women? Loved them. The forbidden fruit of the civil rights movement of the 60s. The FBI will record him in hotel rooms having sex with them, then send the recordings to his wife, Coretta. They wanted to divide his home, even though he gave them the ammo to do so. But Coretta never left him. She knew the purpose and put up with Martin Luther King's hypocrisy for that reason. The movement, the stand, and the movement of our people as one was bigger than some white woman's pussy. And look at the results of black people moving and standing as one during that period. Almost everything that as a nation we benefit from today was accomplished from our stand as one in the 1960s. The white-only signs came down, desegregation, the right to vote, and so much more through our stand as one in the 60s. Our sisters and brothers, George and Breonna, would never have gotten justice had we not been globally united. This thing is not just for blacks here in the U.S. This is for black people everywhere. There is no country where the white man has not landed and used this method of divide and conquer to take complete control. Look around. Egypt, Iraq, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, and other quote-unquote Islamic countries He's used Sunni Muslims versus Shia Muslims and made them enemies of each other. So the Quran tells the Muslims, do not become divided among yourselves. The Quran tells them this. And why does it say this? Because your power will flee from you. And they too do it anyway. So not only did the Most High give this principle to his Messiah and put it instinctively in the animal world, but he gave it to himself, to the global Muslims. He gave it to us from himself personally, to the global Muslims communities. And they have turned their backs to it and caused their own destruction and subjugation to the white man here, the white CIA, and white Israel. This is the double cross. Now, look around. There's nowhere the divide and conquer principle has not been implemented, even in getting an education. Affirmative action in education was removed by the racist U.S. Supreme Court last month after it was won in the 60s. It was implemented because the divide and conquer was used in education. Whites pretend to know why they are so afraid of blacks, but hey, they really don't. They really don't know. Because if they did, then yeah, they should fear. Because the education of what they've done to us and the many atrocities and things that they've built and used against us, they know that if we were to really focus on that, then yeah, it would be an eye for an eye. So, understand how they played us, how they manipulated us, and how they destroyed us, reducing us to the walking dead. We are at their mercy because we don't stand united. And we are the only nation here that does not do so. If blacks are destroying blacks, how can they stand? We have a long way to go, and there's no end in sight. This is the double cross. Assalamu alaikum.